Jennifer Chase works residential real estate in Seattle. Last October, she had 6 showings on a Saturday, a good Saturday by any measure. Sunday morning, she opened her inbox and counted 6 follow-up emails to write, each buyer at a completely different stage. The couple who loved the property and were ready to make an offer. The solo investor who asked 3 questions on site that she could not answer immediately. The family who needed to loop in parents. The browser who probably would not buy for 18 months. She sat down to write at 9 a.m. and was still writing at 11:30, 2.5 hours for 6 emails, each one starting from a blank screen. That is what this workflow eliminates. In this video, I will build 10 follow-up email templates in Claude that match my tone, my market, and my specific voice as an agent. From scratch to 10 ready-to-paste templates takes about 12 minutes. After that, every follow-up I send starts with a template I customize in 30 seconds, instead of staring at a blank email for 10 minutes deciding how to start. Here is the full workflow. Quick disclaimer. This is a productivity demo, not professional advice. The sample data you will see on screen is entirely fictional. Email regulations differ by jurisdiction. CSL in Canada, can't spam in the US, UK GDPR in Britain, the Spam Act in Australia. Before you send any AI-assisted email to real clients, verify it meets your local requirements and your brokerage's communication policies. Some links in the description are affiliate. Full disclosure there. Let's build the templates. Here is the actual problem. You have just done 6 showings on a Saturday. Monday morning, you have 6 follow-up emails to write, 1 for each buyer, each at a different stage. The couple from the morning showing who love the property and are ready to move. The solo buyer who seemed interested but non-committal. The investor who asked 3 questions you did not have answers to on the spot. The family who needed to talk to their parents. Each of those deserves a different message. I had 47 unanswered follow-up situations after a particularly busy weekend last quarter. I opened my email client and just sat there. Not because I did not know what to say, I did. But the activation energy of starting from a blank screen 6 times felt impossible. The fix is not having AI write your emails for you. That is not what this is. The fix is having a library of 10 voice match templates you can pull from in 30 seconds and make your own. Claude builds that library with you, not for you. The difference matters. A library built around your voice is something you can actually use without editing every sentence. A generic template library just shifts the work from writing to rewriting. The 2-phase approach in this video creates templates that already sound like you before you touch them. The first thing you do is define your 10 scenarios. Do not just ask Claude for generic follow-up emails. That is how you get output that sounds like every other agent's autoresponder. Instead, you tell Claude the exact 10 moments in your pipeline where follow-up matters. Here are mine. Post-showing, interested. Post-showing, not a fit. No response after 3 days. Price reduction notification. Open house attendee, first contact. New listing that matches a prior buyer. Contract anniversary check-in. Referral thank you. Stale lead reactivation, 6 months out. And post-close relationship maintenance. 10 scenarios, each with a different goal, a different emotional register. Now I will open Claude and walk through the prompt. The prompt I use has 2 phases. Phase 1 is voice calibration. I paste in 2 or 3 emails I have already written and sent, and I tell Claude to analyze my tone, my sentence length, my level of formality, the way I open and close. Then in Phase 2, I give it the 10 scenarios and ask for templates that match that voice profile. Why do voice calibration first instead of just describing your style? Because describing your own style is surprisingly hard and usually inaccurate. You might say you write casually and directly, but your actual emails might have subtle habits you do not notice. How you handle transitions, whether you use contractions consistently, whether you ask one question or several. Claude reads the actual examples and identifies the real patterns, not your self-reported description. That is a much more reliable input for the template generation phase. Let me type the first phase out. I hit send and Claude reads my 3 sample emails and tells me what it observed about my style. Short sentences, direct openers, no fluff, conversational contractions, low formality but not casual, closes with a soft question or an open door, not a hard call to action. That is accurate. That is actually how I write. By the way, this voice calibration idea came from a question in the comments on last Thursday's video. Someone asked why their AI emails sounded robotic even after editing. The answer is almost always that you skipped the calibration step. You asked for templates without giving the model any reference for what your voice actually sounds like. A 30-second description of your style is much less useful than 3 actual emails you wrote. Okay, now phase 2. Now I send the second prompt in the same conversation. I list my 10 scenarios and ask Claude to write a template for each one, matching the voice profile it just identified. Each template should be under 120 words, include a placeholder for the client name and property address, and end with a low-pressure next step. Not a hard close, a soft opening. Why the 120-word limit? Because the scenarios that matter most in real estate follow-up, the check-in, the post-showing note, the price reduction alert, are situations where brevity signals respect for the recipient's time. A 200-word follow-up reads like a sales pitch. A 90-word follow-up reads like a colleague message. We are aiming for colleague, not pitch. Why a soft next step instead of a hard call to action? Because a hard close in a follow-up email creates a binary decision, yes or no, before the relationship is ready for it. A soft opening keeps the conversation alive without forcing a premature decision. Here are the 10 templates. I read through them. Most are solid. The voice calibration did its job. But template 3, the no-response follow-up, feels a bit too apologetic for my style. I never open with "I hope this finds you well." That is not me. So I give Claude one targeted revision instruction. This is the part that takes 2 minutes, not 10. Let me type the refinement. Once I am happy with all 10, I copy the full output to a Google Doc titled Email Templates, Month Year. I keep a working copy and a master copy. The working copy is the one I actually open when I need a template. I duplicate the relevant section, swap the placeholders, and send. The master stays clean as a backup. Let me copy this and show you the doc structure. Here is what using the template actually looks like. I open my email client, duplicate template 1, post showing, interested. I replace client underscore name with the buyer's first name, property underscore address with the actual address, and I write 1 or 2 sentences that are specific to that showing. That personalization takes 30 seconds. The result is an email that sounds like I sat down and wrote it, because I did. The template gave me the structure and the opening. The specific detail is all me. That distinction matters. The template removes activation energy. It does not remove your voice from the email. Every template in this library has a blank space where your observation from that specific interaction goes. Without that specific detail, the template is just another form letter. With it, the email reads like genuine follow-through from someone who was paying attention. Before this workflow, every follow-up started from a blank screen. Average time to write and send 1 follow-up email. 10 to 12 minutes when in flow, longer when not. 6 follow-ups after a busy weekend, an hour minimum. After, the 12-minute one-time setup gives me 10 templates I reuse indefinitely. Each follow-up now takes 30 seconds to customize and send. 6 follow-ups, 3 minutes. That is also not counting the ones I used to procrastinate on until they were too late to send without seeming neglectful. Templates remove the activation energy barrier entirely. The question shifts from how do I start this to which template fits this situation, and that takes about 5 seconds to answer. The timing also changes. Because each email takes 30 seconds rather than 10 minutes, I send them immediately after the showing rather than batching them for the next morning. Research on lead response time consistently shows that first contact within an hour outperforms next-day contact by a significant margin. Speed matters as much as content. In the description below, I have included the 2-phase prompt, the voice calibration phase and the 10-scenario request, ready to paste into Claude. I have also included my 10 scenario labels so you can adapt them to your pipeline. The PDF of 10 prompts every real estate agent should have saved includes this 2-phase email template prompt that is also linked in the description, free. Subscribe for 3 practical AI workflows per week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Thursday, I am showing you how to build a 1-page market snapshot report for clients using ChatGPT and Google Sheets in 5 minutes. No CMA software required. See you then.